Hello students, welcome back to your science class. So student, in the previous class in this chapter, that is fundamental unit of life, cell, we were talking about division of labor. You see students, we have seen what are the advantages of multicellularity. So basically, organisms are divided depending upon the number of cells present in it into two types, and that is unicellular and multicellular. If we talk about the unicellular organisms are those organisms which is consisting of only one cell. Uni means one, cellular means cell. So we can say here unicellular is the organism which is made up of only one cell. Multicellular organisms are those organisms which is having many cells in it. So we can say here that is, so multicellular organisms are those which is having many cells. So what are the different advantages of being multicellular? Basically, in case of a multicellular, the most important thing that we have to understand here, that we have to understand, that is multicellular organism, since having many cells, so there will be interaction occur between the different cells. Ultimately, the workload will be less because there will be distribution of the workers also happens in that of the multicellular. Lot of cells are there, students. Cell differentiation is there. It means every cell, they divided in such a way that they are playing a role, they are having the specific function. In case of a unicellular, it is not like that because one cell have to perform everything. So the grade of organization in case of the level of organization in case of a multicellular organism is also several, but in case of a unicellular, it is only one. Since the division of the labor happens, since the work is distributed into the different cells, due to which workload will be less. Because work is distributed now, so obviously workload will be less. And if the workload will be less, so efficiency will be more. So we can say here that in case of a multicellular organism, efficiency of the different cell is much more and the workload will be less. So these are what some of the advantages of the being multicellular organism. Then we were talking about the difference between that of the unicellular and multicellular organism, students. So we have seen on the basis of a different property. So we had we had differentiated the unicellular organism from the multicellular. And the first one, in case of the students, we have seen the number of cells. So on the basis of a number of cells, we have differentiated unicellular and multicellular. So unicellular is what obviously consisting of a one cell, and multicellular it consisting of a many cells. Then the next one is surface to the volume ratio. So surface to the volume ratio in case of a unicellular is lower, and because of the surface to volume ratio is lower, so the size of the cell will be large. In case of a multicellular, the surface to volume ratio will be more, and thus the size will be less. Okay, it will be small. Then what kind of a role it is? So obviously there is only one cell is there, so it works as an individual, while in case of a multicellular it plays a dual role, like as an individual also it is having its own role, as well as being a part of the community, being the part of a different cells, as there is an interaction happens with the different cells. Then workload, student, obviously in case of a unicellular, since one cell have to perform each and everything, so workload will be very high. Here the workload is very low. Now let us see the body organization. What kind of a body organization is there in case of the unicellular or the multicellular organism, students? So we can write it here, that is, okay. So next one is body organization. Body organization. Here, in case of a unicellular, the level of the body organization is acellular in case of unicellular, students. So we can write it, that is, it is level of body organization, level of body organization is acellular grade. Is acellular grade. Okay, while it is acellular grade. While in case of a multicellular, the level of a body organization is cellular, then tissue, then organ system. Okay, so here level of body organization is cellular, tissue level, then organ and organ system So level of body organization is cellular, tissue, organ and organ system level. Next is, that is, division of labor. Here obviously there is no such division of labor you will see in case of the unicellular. Okay, no division of labor. No division of labor. Here, division of labor. Means the different cells, they have been allotted for different functions. Okay. Then cooperation and coordination. Cooperation and coordination. So here, in case of a unicellular, there is a cooperation is there. No coordination, but yes, cooperation is there. And this cooperation or the coordination is between that of the cell organelles, because only one cell is there. While in case of a multicellular, the cooperation and coordination of not only of the cell organelle, but also occur between different cells. So we can write here cooperation and coordination of only cellular organelles. While here cooperation and coordination between different cells. It occurs between different cells. Next is efficiency of function. Efficiency of function. So we can write it here, that is efficiency of function. So here we can say that since all the work have to do by the one cell, so less efficiency to do the work. Here, more efficient to do the work due to the division of labor. Due to the division of labor. So since work has been divided, so efficiency will be more in case of the multicellular organism. Next one is the survival capacity. So obviously the survival capacity in case of a unicellular will be less, while in case of the multicellular it will be more. So we can say here that survival capacity. Survival capacity will be less. Here, survival capacity will be more. And the reason is, students, that is in case of this the unicellular, death of the single cell will be the death of the whole organism. Only one cell is there. But in case of a multicellular, it is not like that. We knew it very well that the pre-existing cells, they used to reproduce or give that of the new cells. So due to the division of the cells happen generally, due to which, and there are a lot of other cells are there, so we can say here that is survival capacity will be more. Even the death of the few cells will not going to the give the death of the whole living organism. So survival capacity will be more. A thing which is very much similar with this, that is the dead cells. So if we talk about the dead cells, in case of a unicellular, so if the cell get died, it will not going to help or sustain the life of the unicellular organism, because one cell is only there. But here in case of a multicellular, the dead cells are replaced by that of the new cells. One more thing is there, here the dead cell will not going to provide any kind of a work, but even in the multicellular organism, the dead cell will help in giving the protection. So we can say here that the death of the few cells will not going to give the death of the whole multicellular organism or of that of the organism. So here we can say that dead cells cannot sustain life in unicellular organism. But here in this case it is not like that. We can say that dead cells plays an important role or plays a role such as protection, water conduction, etc. Water conduction, etc. So these are what, student, these are the difference between that of the unicellular and multicellular organism, how they differ from each other. Okay, now if we talk about the cells, so cells are also of a different shape and size. There are cells which is very bigger in size, and there are cells which is very smallest. The smallest cell is also called as the cell of the mycoplasma or PPLO. So let us see a few shape and size of the cell, and then we will move on and see the again at two type of cells which is divided on the level of their organization. So, shape and size of cells. Shape and size of cells. Shape and size of cells, students. So there are a lot of different shapes and size of cells are there. Shape, student, obviously there are cells like if you see at the muscle cells, if you see nerve cell, so they differ from each other on the basis of their shape. Okay, so here we can write it, that is cells are of different shapes like nerve cell. If you look at the nerve cell, students, you will find that the nerve cells is having a nucleus, dendrite which comes out of it. Here this is a myelin sheath is present. I'm just drawing a rough diagram of, and what you will observe, there is a nucleus and cytosol which is present from it. Which is present in it. Okay, and from there again there is a nucleus which is present inside it. Nucleus and cytoplasm. So this kind of a structure is of a nerve cell. When you look at the structure of a osteocyte, so osteocyte will be kind of a cell will be there, students. Again, when you look at the structure, it will be like and from here this kind of a different nerves came out. Okay, if you look at the human WBC, that also differ from each other. Okay, so we can say here that the different cells are of different shape and different sizes. Okay, if we talk about the shape itself, students, so nerve cell is there. If you look at the structure of a smooth muscle, that will be in the shape of a spindle. So which help us in telling the different cells are of a different shape. So nerve cell is there, human blood cells, osteocyte. Osteocyte is what? That is bone cell. Okay. Then liver cell is there, muscle cells. So they differ from each other on the basis of their shape. If we talk about the size, So cells also differ from each other, on the basis of the size. Sizes. Like ostrich. Cell is the largest cell. So we can say that largest cell is the ostrich. Like largest cell is the ostrich egg. And smallest known cell is PPLO, okay, which is of mycoplasma. So the full form of PPLO is pneumonia like organism, which is a cell of a mycoplasma. So we can say here that different shape and different size of a cells are available. Every living organism, they consisting of a different types of a different size and the shape of a cell, students. Okay, so it is about the shape and size of cells. Even you look at the human cell itself, there are different type of a cell, student. If you look at the WBC, they are spherical. If you see the muscles, it is a spindle. Nerve cells, they differ from each other. So obviously there are differences in the cells in the body itself, in a living organism, as well as different types of a cells present in different living organism also vary in their shape and size. Now again, if you look at the type of a cell, so on the basis of constituent of the cell, especially here we talk about the development, how the cells developed. It means how much the cells already had developed. On the basis of that, we have divided into two types. The first one is the prokaryotic and the second one is the eukaryotic. Prokaryotic, pro means primitive and eu means true. Basically, on the basis of the developed nucleus or the nuclear membrane, we have categorized them into two, prokaryotic and eukaryotic. So we can say here, on the basis of the constituent. On the basis of the constituent, they have been categorized into mainly are of two types, eukaryotic and prokaryotic. Eukaryotic and prokaryotic cell. Okay. So let us start with the first one, and that is prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell. What happened in the pro? Pro means primitive. Karyotic term, this term came from karyon. Karyon means nucleus. It is a Latin name that is called as nucleus. So a cell which is having primitive nucleus. It means primitive means what? Which is not developed. Okay. So we can say here that here absence of a developed nucleus already as well as the absence of nuclear membrane is there. Okay. So true nucleus is absent. Here true nucleus is absent. Okay. And even nuclear membrane is also absent. Nuclear membrane is also absent. Okay. Now the prokaryotic cells are basically present in bacteria, cyanobacteria, mycoplasma, etc. Okay. So cyanobacteria like Nostoc is there, students, Spirula is there. These are some of the cyanobacteria. So let us see that what are the different features or what are the important features of prokaryotic cells. So we can write it. Important features of prokaryotic cell. Important feature of prokaryotic cell. So the first feature is absence of true nucleus. Absence of true nucleus. Second one is absence of nuclear membrane. Obviously the nuclear membrane is also absent here. Okay. There is a if there is a absence in the nuclear membrane happens, student, so there will be no difference between that of the nucleoplasm and the cytoplasm. It means there will be no difference in the protoplasmic structure or protoplasmic fluid. So it will remains the same. Okay. So we can say here no differentiation of protoplasm. No differentiation of protoplasm into cytoplasm and nucleoplasm. Into cytoplasm and nucleoplasm. So no differentiation of protoplasm, that is into cytoplasm and nucleoplasm is there. Okay. Next one is, that is the ribosomes are of 70S type. The ribosome which is present in it are of 70S type. The ribosome is of 70S type. Normally ribosomes are categorized into two, students, that is 70S and 80S. Here in the prokaryotic cell the ribosome are of 70S type. In case of a prokaryotic cell, the membrane bound organelles are also absent. So we can write it, other membrane bound organelles are also absent, like Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum and mitochondria. these all are absent. Okay. So here in this case, the membrane bound organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus and mitochondria are absent, student.